Good morning, everybody. How you doing? I'm Ed Parcaut. This is Real Estate Jerky Daily. Usually Mike's here. He's still on vacation, and it seems like it's been forever since I've done a live. It seems that way, especially on daily. It's been about 2 weeks, and then Mike's back tomorrow. And I thought, you know what? There's just so much news out there. I can't wait for him to show up. I just have to get going. So let's get going, shall we? All right. And again, we appreciate you guys reaching out, wanting to know where we're at, and we really appreciate all of you. All right, we've seen some major stuff over the last 2 weeks. I was watching while I was on vacation, and then at a conference last week. I should say a mastermind because that's what it really was. So let's just get right into it. I mean, right now the Dow's down 1,000 points. And normally I'd be going, good, that means there's a run to safety for bonds, and they're not really moving much today. This is a unique market, and I think it all has to do with the tariffs. There's a flight. I don't know why there's not a flight to safety into bonds, but I don't know. We'll leave it. Barry Habib is, I don't say he's throwing his hands up, but he's kind of, waiting just like everybody. We've never been here before. We've never had a president who's like stood on the thing and said, hey, we're doing these tariffs. We want to make sure all this trade is fair. And he's willing to really basically destroy his presidency for this. So that's a unique situation where you have somebody who doesn't care about getting reelected. Anyway, enough of the politics right now. All right, so let's look at what's happening in the mortgage bonds, dollar, and the reserve currency, and let's look at the housing. What's going on with them inventory? First of all, mortgage bonds are in 10 years are kind of unchanged this morning. It's not really moving much. Let's see where we currently are. Not that one. We want that one right there. Thank you. All right. So, yeah, I mean, 10-year sitting at 4.36 is actually up 3 basis points, and the bond's down about 13. Well, let's keep going. Eventually, this is all going to work out and down the road, and you'll see what I'm talking about once I get there. All right. So they broke below the 100-day moving average. Looks like I got a VA video appointment this week. Anyway, I keep getting those texts. Support level, 10-year treasury touched 4.41, also at its 100-day moving average before bouncing back down below the 50-day moving average. This Wednesday, we have mortgage applications, new home sales. Thursday, we have initial jobless claims, durable good orders, and existing home sales. So really major news Wednesday and Thursday. You guys can just sleep in tomorrow and Friday. Let's talk about the dollar and reserve status, because this is what I'm hearing a lot about. There's a lot of chatter about the US dollar losing its global reserve status. But if you look at data, remember there's lies, damn lies, and then statistics, but real data tells, just go off the data. It doesn't have feelings. It tells a different story. So the International Money Fund data, the dollar makes up 58% of foreign exchange reserves globally. The euro is next at 20%, the yen's next at 5%, and the Chinese yuan, often touted as a dollar replacement, only holds 2.2%. I think they got a ways to go to catch up to 58%. While the dollar has weakened from its recently highs, it's much stronger than it was 5 years ago. Bottom line, the dollar has a commanding lead and it's nowhere being dethroned. So stop worrying about the dollar not being the major currency out there still. What else we got going on? All right. So Lacey Hunt is economist, easy for me to say. They shared some key insights on his quarterly newsletter. He looked at the M2 money supply and the other deposit liabilities, and both are contracting sharply, a classic deflationary signal. This implies slower growth ahead. He warns that tariffs are recessionary and believes the Fed should start cutting rates proactively. Hunt sees long-term yields and mortgage rates moving lower in the future. I see that also. That's exactly what I see. Fed watch, and you want to look at GDP outlook for this week. Well, the Fed meets again on May 7th, and the growing speculation we could see a negative Q1 GDP print. Atlanta Fed is also forecasting a flat to negative growth. Even Chairman Powell has admitted that current policy is very restrictive, and money supply, or I should say money policy, has long and variable legs. So they're all seeing that we're running into this issue, but they're not cutting yet. And I'm not jumping on the whole bandwagon where they're like, they should be cutting because they did it before the election. You know what? No matter what they do, they're going to be wrong. And you're going to say, what are you talking about? Because you have a 50-50 chance to get it right. That's it. And if you've never been here before, which we haven't, how do you gauge this? They could drop it too low, and then we could be back in the 70s with that type of inflation. We don't want that. I'd much rather us be pushed into a recession because we get lower interest rates than not go into recession and then, do nothing, drop too soon, and then we have inflation back and other problems. So let's just keep going forward. Again, stop listening to everything out there. Just focus on getting people into properties, because you're going to see that this is a perfect time for people to buy. I know the rates aren't perfect, but you're never going to have the perfect. So someone asked me the other day, when are the rates going to be low and then the house values low also? And I'm like, it's not going to happen. We're going to see some slowing down, but we're not going to see any major slowing downs. However, and what I'm talking about, like certain states are going to have problems. Let's look at housing market trends. So right now, we see kind of an increase in housing inventory. They call it a surge. I don't see a surge. So our weekly inventory rose from 702,434 to 719,400. That's almost a 17,000 gain last week. Compared to the same week in 2023, inventory was only 542,651. That's showing a huge year-over-year growth. I'm going to dig into these numbers a little bit more today and get back to you tomorrow. I want to see how many of those are stuff to do with Florida's issues, and if that's still a third of those. All-time inventory bottom was in 22 was 240,497. I can't believe it was that low. In 2024, peaks was so far 739,434 listings. So we're not even back to the peak of 2024. If you look at in 2015, the weekly inventory was over 1 million. So we're kind of moving in the right direction to have more houses on the market, choices, and actually, you still have competition, because once that happens, you're going to have more competition because people are like, hey, it's a time to buy. And no, now is the time to buy. You can get the house at this price. Yes, the payment might be a little bit higher because of rates, but eventually you will be able to get that down. And I just did it last year in September. It's going to happen again. So stop waiting. Just do it. I know people are like unsure. That's the best time to buy, when people are unsure. That is it. That is the best time to do things. You don't want to do things when everybody else is doing things, because that's when you're going to pay more for everything. And I know people don't understand this. Mike and I have been talking about this for almost 2 years now, and some people are listening and they're very happy they did. A lot of people I took care of last year in September from people who bought earlier in the year and had high interest rates. We dropped them down to 5.625, 5.875, all over the place, and they saved a lot of money. So it's going to happen. So stop playing around. Go get your house. Key takeaways from what I've been saying: there's less competition right now, better pricing, and a path towards a healthier market for both buyers and sellers. So that's kind of all I had today. I'm glad to be back. That's a wrap. And, Wednesday and Thursday, some more numbers. I'm going to research back to the inventory nationwide to see how much of that is Florida and Texas, and see if we're still 10% of it. Anyway, so that's kind of what we're looking at. I hope everybody has a great day. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. It's been kind of weird not doing a live every day for over a 2-week period, but I'm back. That's right, baby. I'm back. And we will be back tomorrow again. Mike will be here, and he doesn't like to do these when I'm gone by himself. So if you see him, just call him a scaredy cat. He should be able to do these by himself. He's a big boy now. Anyway, just kidding. All right, make it a great day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. All right.